What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Daily Rage Quit. I'm your host, Weiss, and alongside me, a guy who never leaves his house without doing his hair, Steelman.
What's going on, guys? Make sure you like and subscribe to our stuff. Leave a comment below. Toss a nade in there.
And today's episode is all about diving deeper into Call of Duty lethals, specifically grenades. We have former EOD officer Cleaver diving in and giving us a better look at what grenades are all about. So let's roll that clip. All right, Cleaver, the next lethal weapon we've got to hit without a doubt, and this is one across the gaming spectrum that we all know, but we got to really dissect this one for Call of Duty, are grenades. So give us a little what you're seeing about the grenades there.
Yeah, I mean, it looks accurate. It's the M67, which is the modern hand grenade. Basically, it was designed to replicate the ability of an American to throw a baseball. So that's why it's that shape and size versus the old pineapple grenades we used to have, which
every
is sort
American
of
knows how to throw a baseball.
Yeah, you get a good fist on the old pineapple type, but the little ball ones, it's more like a baseball. And you can really, you can throw them very far, but it's just like, in the game, it's I don't know, the arc you can do is insane. It's like throwing a football at the entire field. But I think as far as video game grenades go, they're pretty accurate. Any of these grenades, they just have, a pin, a safety pin which you pull out. They have a spoon which you hold. And when you let go of that spoon, a little pin, which you can think about like a gun's firing pin, flips down and hits what you like a bit of primer, a very sensitive explosive, like inside the primer in a gun's in a bullet, and that will start a 3 to 5 second pyrotechnic delay fuse, which basically means as soon as the spoon flings off and the striker hits home, 3 to 5 seconds, it's going to go off. So the cooking thing, I don't really understand. It seems like you can cook them for a pretty long time. And I guess it's based on the premise that as soon as you pull it out, letting the spoon fly. I don't really know how that works.
Yeah, I think that's what they're kind of going for. Is that like you're just kind of timing it. But with you saying 3 to 5 seconds, like that 2 second interval seems like a little dicey to be kind of trying to time a nade correctly. I guess is that something like kind of like a known, like, is it like just a variation between them? Like they're not all produced at the exact same 5 second mark, or is it kind of like?
I think the M67, they actually say it's 4 to 5 seconds. 3 to 5 seconds is just sort of like a general grenade rule for U.S. grenades, how they always been. But like if you're dealing with a Chinese grenade or a Russian grenade, they can be whatever. They can have ones that they could set like variable timings, so you get a box of them and they all have different lengths, and some of them
wow.
Some of them will be set to detonate instantly, so they'll kill you if you capture them. And
you capture
Japanese
them. Wow.
have a bunch of fucked up ones too. So but with US, like the M67, it's pretty solid. And everyone, at least cool special forces guys and shit, I'm sure they do all sorts of wild stuff, but you're never supposed to cook it off. You just throw it, and while you're throwing it, the spoon's gone. You don't let the spoon fly and then throw it. The spoon is released when you're throwing it. So you don't want to fuck around at all with that.
And you're also not throwing it 30, 40 yards, I'm assuming, as well.
No. And it's like you're supposed to be, the way they teach it to people in like basic training is you're supposed to be behind cover, look up, see what you're throwing it at, get down, get up again and throw it and get back in cover. That's sort of like the textbook way of doing it. But, fucking SWAT guys and awesome, special forces, Navy SEAL guys, they're using them, all sorts of different creative ways.
So I guess it's also probably unrealistic that they'd get tossed back at you too. I mean, it sounds like it would be, unless they like caught it on the fly and just like had a super arm and slung it back at you.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've heard of it before.
Really?
You know? Sure, yeah. I've heard of it. I've never seen anyone do anything crazy. Everyone just dives out of the way or gets the fuck out of there, you know. Or
yeah.
You know, usually it's like, oh shit, it blew up. I didn't know it was there, you know. Like,
yeah.
When it comes to the explosion itself in the game, obviously there's not a lot of fire, which I'm assuming, you know, from, you know, explosives, you usually see a lot of fire, but in this case there is no fire. So when they hit this, it sounds like they got it right on the head with, like, you know, when you throw it in, the charge goes off and the explosion. It seems like they got that down to a science.
Yeah. It's just, I think they fought against the impulse for giant explosions, like Hollywood explosions. Yeah. Which are just only really going to happen when you have something like a can of gasoline sitting on top of the explosion, you know, some big fuel to be combusted, you know, in a big cloud. Grenades have very little explosives relatively in them. They do their killing with the shrapnel, but the metal case on the outside turns into. I think they did a pretty good job. I mean, the only real big fire explosion I can think of is like when the cars go off, which I think is, you know, it kills you very easily compared to other things in the game, but, you know, it's, you know, it's sort of cool they have that.
Yeah.
Now, the one last thing is, like, when it comes to, like, just like in grenades alone, especially what we're talking about now, with the type of explosive that's in there, obviously it's the shrapnel that's getting you on a grenade in particular. Yeah. So that's what's going to impact you the most. So, like, what is actually used in a grenade that's going to allow the shrapnel to discharge out everywhere?
The way it works is, you know, there'll be a fuse on top of your grenade, and, you know, the one from the game, standard M67, it looks like a little metal ball fuse sitting on top, has a spoon, which is like the safety clip that gets released when you throw it. You know, your hand lets go of. It's that makes that fling, you know, sort of sound from video games and movies and stuff. And then in that fuse is basically like its own little blasting cap. So it'll have some sort of initiating explosive, which is like in any sort of explosive, there's going to be your bulk explosive, which is the thing that's actually going to make the big explosion. But there's going to be some smaller, more sensitive explosive that detonates that bulk explosive. Because anything made by for military use, the bulk explosive is not going to be sensitive. So you can't hit it with a hammer and it blows up a truck or something. So like your standard C4, TNT, it's made to be stable and not very sensitive. And you have to put another type of explosive, a blasting cap usually, into it filled with something more sensitive that can be detonated with electrical impulse or a firing pin of some sort or something striking it, you know, or fire, you know, fuse, something like that. So basically that little pin strikes home, burns, ignites the primer, burns the 3 to 5 second delay fuse. When that fuse spits out its last little fire after the 3 to 5 seconds, that detonates the sensitive blasting cap inside, which then will detonate the bigger little ball of explosive. And in an M67, I think maybe it has C4 inside of it, or yeah, I think the old grenades had composition B, but I think it'll be a little ball of C4 in there. And that, being on the inside, will detonate and fling out the entire metal casing which goes around it. And the metal casing is scored on the inside, so it'll make a bunch of tiny little pellets. And those are what kill people.
Thank you all for tuning in to another episode of the Daily Rage Quit, a special series with former EOD officer Cleaver. Be sure to subscribe down below. We want to keep these videos going. Also, like or dislike. We need to know if you like our shit or not.
Yeah, keep the comments going. Let us know how you guys like this series. If you want to see more series, or if you want us to touch on other explosives from other games and their real life application, like, please put it down below. From all of us at the Daily Rage Quit, peace.